In my hands, I have Batman the television series from 1966, and for nearly half a century, there was no way to watch this show. And we may not have that option for much longer since physical media is fizzling out and losing relevance. It's becoming harder and harder to find, and there's a much heavier push towards streaming only. And so, the only way that we can ensure that we hold on to this show, that we have this piece of history, is to own the physical copy of it. Streaming services can pull things whenever they want. The classic Looney Tunes was pulled from Max over 40 years of cartoon history. And the stated reason is that there was a push towards more adult-centered and family-centered content and a move away from content deemed for kids. And I think that's kind of crazy because I know of a lot of adults who love the Looney Tunes, who grew up with it, their parents grew up with it. I mean, we are talking decades worth of content. So I decided to check eBay and see what DVD sales for the Looney Tunes were looking like. And there's been a huge spike in the last couple days since this news came out, which tells me that there is a demand for physical media, and maybe people are starting to come around and see the importance of preserving our media. And the heavy push towards streaming concerns someone like me who loves film and has studied the history of film. And to remove something like the Looney Tunes that has such a legacy to it, that has touched so many generations, to make more room for generic slop content. There are even writers at Netflix who have come out and said that they have been told to rewrite their scripts and essentially dumb down the dialogue to pander to people watching while scrolling on their phones. Like, streaming services do not respect the people who are making the films, and they do not respect you as the viewer and your intelligence and your time. They don't care what you want to see. It's very clear to me that people want to watch this original Looney Tunes if they're taking to eBay and buying physical media after they've been told for years to get rid of their DVD player. I think people are turning around and realizing that content is becoming disposable. Not everything does get a physical release, but a lot will just be removed and completely forgotten. And I've seen what has happened during the silent era of film. A lot of those movies, it's believed that 90% of silent films have been lost forever because the preservation was just not there. Entire actors and directors' careers completely forgotten to time. All of that hard work and energy, regardless of whether it was good or not at the time to be remembered, there's always something that we can learn from the media of another age. And so, for the vast majority of it to be missing. And I see the same thing happening with streaming services. If something doesn't perform with the correct audience immediately, it'll be removed from streaming before it ever has a chance to find that audience. A lot of films and movies that people love today that become cult classics were critically panned when they were first released. And we're not giving media the chance to find that audience. A more niche film is not given a chance. It's just being removed because it's not eye-catching enough right away. And so it really bugs me to see people's hard work, people's niche films not being given the chance to find that audience and to get the attention that it deserves. And for just sort of the lowest quality of slop content to make it to the top. And at the end of the day, it's sad because a lot of people, a lot of younger people, people my age and younger in particular, just don't seem to care. They kind of like just having everything fed to them through a feed and not having to make that choice themselves of what to watch. It's kind of how people have been trained by the TikTok algorithm and through YouTube and Instagram. And so at the end of the day, if we don't have physical media, we're losing the choice to watch what we want. And more importantly, to preserve the history, to preserve the legacy of the people who worked on it, the actors. There are entire actors from the silent age who will never know their names. Directors will never know their work. And these are the people who were most important. The people who innovated and worked tirelessly to have what we do today will never be remembered for their work. You know what? There's a lot we could learn from some of those films, even if not all of them are that great. Just like right now, there's a lot to learn about the media that's being produced. We are experiencing such a media shift, how we consume media, how media is being fed to us. We are in such a new time, so it's important that we're able to look back at the good and the bad. And right now, we might not even know what that is yet. We might be so overwhelmed by choices that we haven't even discovered some of the best work of our time. And it might just not be good enough right now. It might just be forgotten to time. And, you know, there are whole communities on the internet that search for lost media. And, of course, in today's day and age, it's a lot easier to archive things, but if not enough people know about it, if not enough people care to archive some of these things, if they never get a physical release, it could go the way of the silent era where writers, actors' work and legacies are forgotten. And we just don't know what we could be missing. Streaming platforms and the retailers do not care. They just want whatever's going to make them the most money. And so if VHS tapes had a weird revival and started being made again, you'd probably see those popping up in Targets right next to the vinyl records, but you're not going to be finding DVDs and CDs, even though they are realistically more practical. You can take them anywhere. You can put them in a laptop. You can put them in a PlayStation or an Xbox. It's just, there is a real benefit to the Blu-ray, the DVD, the CD, despite the fact that, you know, cassette tapes and vinyl records and VHS, they're more gimmicky. Some people like to collect that, and I have nothing against that, but I think that there's something important about the Blu-ray and the DVD and just being able to bring it anywhere, share it. You do get that with streaming, but it's up to the platforms to decide what you get to watch. If you want to show your kids Looney Tunes, you're going to have to go out and buy it physically or rent it on Prime Video. But at the end of the day, when's Prime Video going to decide to take it off, you know? It's just a game of moving platforms until you just can't find something anymore. And then you're just wishing you'd never sold your DVD collection. And so I just hope that this video maybe gave people something to think about. Anyways, that's all I had to say. Have a good day.